Good morning. I'm meteorologist Kevin Smith at the National Weather Service in Pocatello. This is your Southeast Idaho weather hazard briefing for Friday, December 28th. Really have two weather hazards to talk about. The first is going to be some fog concerns this morning, and the second is a potential winter storm that's going to impact Southeast Idaho on Sunday. So we start out here with the regional weather map. You can see not much going on. We have a weak high pressure that is building in across Southeast Idaho. You can see yesterday's storm system that brought us the snow now located down here over the Four Corners region and continuing to shift off to the south and east away from our area. And that's going to leave us with dry weather across the region as we look at the regional radar loop. Might still see just an isolated light snow shower this morning. Particularly early this morning, right along the Idaho-Utah border. But other than that, dry conditions expected with a break in between weather systems for the rest of the day, extending into tonight. In the meantime, we have some fog to deal with this morning, and this has been quite dense for some locations this morning, depending on where you're located. State Highway 39 near Sterling is fogged in right now via the webcam here from ITD. Also here in the Arbin Valley along Interstate 86 and nearby here at the Pocatello Airport and the National Weather Service office. We've seen visibilities generally dropping to a half a mile to a quarter mile at times during the overnight hours here at the office with that fog in the area. So you head up toward Idaho Falls. This is the KIFI TV Skycam, giving you a really great view this morning of some of those low clouds and surface fog with those clear skies up above. And we've seen some reduced visibilities, again, down to about a quarter to half mile at times at the Idaho Falls Airport this morning as well. Low temperatures this morning, generally in the single digits and the teens across lower elevations, and of course colder up across northern portions of the area. And I mention that because we are definitely cold enough for freezing fog with that activity out there this morning. Here's a graphic showing where that fog is in the forecast through 11 a.m., and we've indicated that across all of the valleys and the plains here in southeast Idaho with saturated conditions near the surface. The area where we've seen the most widespread and densest fog so far this morning, though, has really been in the eastern Magic Valley and southern and eastern fringes of the Snake Plain. So from Idaho Falls down through Blackfoot, Pocatello, American Falls, even dipping down here into the valleys near Rockland and then out toward Burley is where we've had the most widespread fog this morning with those reduced visibilities. So for anyone who will be traveling across the area this morning, we definitely urge you, in addition to all your normal fog safety rules, slowing down, using the low beam headlights, we also want you to watch out for maybe a little bit of ice on area roadways deposited by the freezing fog that's out there this morning. And that should burn off pretty quickly as we get into the late morning hours. Temperatures this afternoon getting up into the 20s across much of the area. Saturday is going to be a little bit of a break for some of us as well, but we're going to start to see a few snow showers work in ahead of our next storm system. Models have been coming into a little better agreement on this, and we've highlighted here the Central Mountains, generally north of Haley and Mackey, for a chance of a few of those light snow showers. Also here across the Island Park region, down toward Rexburg and the Teton Valley, very light activity possible on Saturday morning. Expanding just a little bit Saturday afternoon, particularly here in the highlands in the east and some of our southern highlands down toward Bear Lake and areas south of Pocatello. Again, this activity should be really light, maybe a dusting or an inch of snowfall possible for areas that do see some of these showers. But I think particularly the Snake Plain, the Magic Valley, even portions of Cassia County are going to remain dry for a second day on Saturday. Now, our next storm system will really move in earnest Saturday night into Sunday, and this is the period where we're really expecting some potential travel impacts. Here's our updated storm total snow graphic for this system, and the models have been trending wetter with this system, which of course is going to mean some increased snowfall totals across the region. We're looking for totals of about 2 to 5 inches here across the western central mountains, particularly as you get out toward the Soldier Mountains, areas west of Stanley and near Galena Summit. Looking for generally about 2 to 4 inches down here across portions of the southern highlands to the south and east of Burley and also south of Pocatello. Their greatest impacts by far will be here in the east, however. East of I-15 into the highlands, we're expecting widespread amounts across this region of 3 to 6 inches over a pretty wide territory now, with even some totals of 6 to 9 inches possible in those higher elevation mountains. So this will include the Island Park area, Driggs, the mountains surrounding the Teton Valley, Palisades, the Caribou Highlands, and down into the Bear Lake region, where we're looking for maybe 3 or 4 inches of snow at lower elevations, places like Montpelier and Soda Springs, and then higher amounts as you get up here into the mountains. I do want to zoom in for a moment on our accumulation forecast here for the Snake Plain. One other thing that we're watching in the models is as we get into Sunday afternoon, we get a westerly wind coming up the Snake Plain here behind the cold front that's expected to move in with this system. At the same time, we're going to be seeing winds draining out of the north and northwest, out of the central mountains and upper Snake Plain. And when this happens, we end up getting an area of convergence that can lead to some development of precipitation here. And that's what some of our models are indicating. So we have gone ahead and increased our snowfall amounts here for the corridor from Rexburg and Idaho Falls down across Tabor, Blackfoot, Fort Hall, Pocatello, and into portions of the south central highlands. Possibility of 1 to 3, 1 to 4 inches along this corridor. Again, conditional based on the development of that convergence band of snow during the afternoon hours on Sunday. So a little less confidence in our forecast for this area. We'll continue to watch this as well, but we do have that in the forecast as you get into Sunday afternoon. The other big issue with this system is going to be winds, and here's our expected wind speeds on Sunday afternoon. You can see a pretty large area across the Snake Plain and the eastern Magic Valley into the southern highlands and Cassia County, where we're topping out winds of 30 to 40 miles per hour across this region. Those will continue into the evening, shifting a little bit further south into the highlands. Wind gusts across this region also going to be very strong. Again, a pretty wide territory here across the Snake Plain and eastern Magic Valley of wind gusts in the 35 to 45 mile per hour range, with even some higher gusts in there during the afternoon and evening, particularly as the cold front surges into the region. Those wind gusts will continue into the evening and start to settle down, although they'll continue for a while here in the southern highlands. I'll back up one, too, to show you we're definitely expecting some increased winds in the central mountains as well, particularly as you head up in elevation. So even with the lower snow totals expected here in the Snake Plain, the western southern highlands, generally on the order of an inch to maybe 2 or 3 inches closer to Pocatello if we get that convergence band going, those winds are really going to cause some issues with blowing snow, reduced visibilities, and slick roadways. So this is really looking like it may be a pretty impactful system on travel across the region. As you might expect, blowing snow risk graphic here really lighting up during the afternoon and evening across the south and continuing across the southern highlands as we get into the evening and early nighttime hours with those winds continuing. High temperatures on Sunday, getting just a little bit warmer during the storm. Still cold enough for snow, but possibly getting up around freezing here in the eastern Magic Valley, places like Burley and Pocatello briefly during the afternoon hours before that cold front moves into the area. So stay tuned for the latest on this system. Of course, we'll continue to refine these forecasts over the next several days as this event approaches. That's it for our hazard briefing this morning. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and have a great day.